it really brings me pain that I gotta make this video, because as you guys can see from this channel, I am a huge Black Clover fan, but I gotta be honest with you guys. The ending of Black Clover, it has been handled horribly, and honestly, Black Clover, it just might have the worst ending in all of new gen anime and manga, and one of the worst endings in all of anime and manga history, period. Yeah, I'm going that far. Black Clover is ending in the next couple of chapters, and the way how the ending was handled all the way around, I'm talking about from the story wise, from in real life wise, it was just handled poorly, and I think that this did ruin the ending, and it did kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth for the series as a whole. And it all started when Black Clover switched from being a weekly manga to a series that comes out every 3 months. Now yo, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't got a problem with a series that comes out every 3 months. It is a drastic change, and since it is a series like Black Clover that I do like and I did enjoy, I wouldn't mind waiting that long. But the bad part is that they chose to make this change at such a weird moment in the time for the series. We saw that they made the change from being weekly to 3 months after their big battle with Lucy Furrow, and if you're asking me, I think that they should have made that change during the war arc, because then it would have made the story feel like that it wouldn't be so linear and it wouldn't feel as predictable. The fact that they made this series go from weekly to every 3 months right when we're in the final battle and the final parts of the series, this just led me to believe, okay, now we know how the story is going to turn out. There was a very small chance that there was going to be a plot twist where the villains win, and then we'll have to see what the world will look like if Lucius actually end up succeeding with his goal. So the fact that we knew that the heroes were going to win definitely did take away from some of the sense of danger and the overall hype for the story, because yo, at that point it was confirmed that Black Clover was ending in like the next 10 chapters once it did go from weekly to 3 months. And I was like, yo, now we know that Asa and Yuto, they're going to end up wiping the floor with Lucius. I also think that was another mistake that they made, the fact that they came out here and said, okay, we are entering the final 10 chapters or so. I believe, I hate when mangakas do that as a whole. Just let the story play out. You ain't gotta tell us how many chapters are left in the series, because if you do that, that kind of ruins the suspense. And like I said, it kind of ruins what the sense of danger could have been, because if we didn't know how many chapters were left, then we could have thought, okay, maybe something drastic will happen, like maybe Yuno could end up dying, Asa dying, we don't know. But the sense of danger would have still been there if it wasn't leaked to us that there are only a set amount of chapters left in the final battle. And like I was saying, I think that they should have made the switch during when they're fighting Lucy Furrow or during the war versus the Spade Kingdom, because then they would have had more time to plan out the story, and I think that it would have been better overall, especially since the mangaka of Black Clover, he complained that the work rate was crazy. That's one of the main reasons why he went from weekly to releasing every 3 months. And if he would have did that earlier on, like in the final parts of the War of the Spade Kingdom and when Lucy Furrow showed up, then I think that we could have had longer moments for characters like Lucy Furrow, who was hyped up to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest devils. And then we didn't get revealed to a bunch of plot lines that was being hyped up in the Spade Kingdom War. Like, we never got to see the devil who Lucius made his contract with and the devil that he ended up finessing. We never got to see Asta's father. This is the biggest travesty in all of modern shonen. You guys already know that I was super excited to see Asta's father. After all the Asta's father videos that I made, I thought that this guy was going to be super hype. It would have been like some 4th Hokage level of hype once we finally did get revealed to Asta's dad. But now that we know that the series is going to end without Asta's father being revealed, I think that this is trash. And we also didn't even get to see the dwarf race. This is Charmy's whole character thrown out the window. We know that every time a race was introduced, like the elves or the devils, it was always super hype. So the fact that we didn't get to see the dwarves after we got to see Charmy get a huge boost in power because she was a dwarf, I think that that is just a huge L. And Black Clover, I find it hard to believe that even though it did switch from being weekly to 3 months, it still felt like that the series was rushed. Like, how do you make that happen? I thought the series was going to be switching from weekly to every 3 months so the story doesn't feel rushed. But in the end, the story still felt rushed. Even though the mangaka had more time to come up with more stuff for the story, I think that that's just completely backwards. And that is one of the things that ruined the hype for Black Clover. So overall, I think that Black Clover, it was ruined from a story and a plot standpoint because a lot of things weren't touched upon and a lot of things were rushed. but it was also ruined IRL because I believe that they made that drastic change from being weekly to be releasing every 3 months way too late in the story. They should have made that change earlier on in the story before we got to the final arc and the final battles of the series. And if you're asking me, the ending, it was very anticlimactic. Like the Austin and Yuno fight versus Lucius, it wasn't terrible, but it also wasn't anything special. Like I said, because the author came out and said, okay, we only have this set amount of chapters left, I think that put him in a corner to where we couldn't even see Lucius, go all out and actually have a decent battle. His battle versus Austin and it was literally like a 5 out of 10. It was mid at its finest, man. That final battle, it definitely did not live up to the hype. And even in the end, we seen how basically Lucius and Julius, how their whole situation was resolved. It was okay. I know a lot of people are bashing on it because they're saying, oh, this is a Mickey Mouse series now. We see that nobody died in the final war because Julius ended up sacrificing himself. We saw that he even brought back Merleona, and we saw that she was about to go out like a G. Like, yo, Merleona, she just straight up extinguished her life force. She went all out and literally burned out like a star. That was super dope. But then it was all retcon because not retcon, but it was all made for nothing because Julius, he ended up sacrificing himself and hitting Lucius with the talk no jutsu at the end. So yeah, I could understand why some people didn't like the ending. I think that it was just kind of mid to kind of bad, but disappointing, more on the disappointing side, because it wasn't necessarily the worst thing ever. But me personally, I just had high hopes for the ending of Black Clover and for Black Clover as a whole. And to see the series end like this, I definitely got to say that this was one of the most disappointing endings that I've seen in a long time for one of the series that I thought was going to go down as one of the greatest series ever.